It's Hoffman Show. We're on the Team 980. We're always live as well on the free Odyssey app. We're streaming live on YouTube. No, I don't want to update this computer. Relax. Good gracious. I'm Craig Hoffman. That's Anthony Haney. I'm tired, Anthony.
You tired?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm tired right now. I think I've been going. I got up this morning, ate, worked out, came back, showered, packed a protein shake, got in the car, got on my car, went to ESA. We were at the Mystics game this morning, the preseason game. Then we came here, taped an interview with someone, and now like an interview for them, not for me, not for the show. All of our interviews are live today. We got a bunch of them, including Todd McShay coming up at 4:30. Russell just talked to Bill. Pretty cool. Corey Krosky Merritt. If you missed that, you can rewind on the Odyssey app. And now we have 3 hours of live radio. And also, Anthony was just very confused because our show folder today, like where we put all our stuff, I created a folder, and it's 5-6, as in May 6th, because the last folder that we had is 5-5. It's the 7th. And I had a mini momentary mental freak out. No! Shut up. We had a momentary mental freak out because I was like, oh, I got to change the date on the YouTube stream. I said it was 5-7. Wait, no, today is the 7th. Anthony, we didn't work yesterday.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to figure out why you're tired. Because me, on the other hand, Craig, I'm well rested. I'm energized. I was in here dancing with A-Mac earlier, showing him some moves.
What'd you guys do?
What'd you say?
What'd you guys do? What kind of moves?
Well, he was asking me what kind of dance moves are for millennials or like middle-aged millennials. And I was like, teach me how to Dougie for sure.
Yeah.
But then you include the drop, the nene, the whip, the yeet, the I forgot the name of this one. Kill him, the Terrio. So yeah, I was giving him a little refresher on some of the dance moves.
Because is he a Gen Z?
No, he's a millennial.
He's just a younger millennial, even younger than you.
Well, he's a year older than me, actually.
Oh.
I think I'm the youngest because I'm the last 6 months of being considered a millennial.
Are you really that tight to the line?
96, man. 81 to 96. Yep.
Interesting. Speaking of interesting, what the hell horse race? What was Russell doing? We got I don't even know what this is called.
I don't either. That's interesting though.
Some kind of horse racing where you got people behind the horses and they're like being pulled in carts. We're gonna change that. We're gonna watch something else. Maybe we'll put a little NFL Live on. They're gonna be talking about the Cowboys. We're gonna talk about the Cowboys coming up at 5:00. They of course traded for George Pickens today. Our pal Michael Leslie from WFAA, the ABC affiliate down in Dallas, is going to join us. But we're going to start talking not about why I'm tired or millennial dance moves or anything else, Anthony, although I guess technically we did start that way. We're gonna jump in earnest into the show, talking a little NBA. And we'll save the Warriors game for 5 minutes or, whatever the next segment is, 8 minutes from now. But Cleveland. Cleveland. Also, no home team has won yet in the second round of the playoffs.
Nope.
We are entering day 3 of the second round of the playoffs tonight.
Yep.
So you've had the Celtics lose at home to the Knicks.
Yep.
The Cavs have lost to the Pacers twice.
Yep.
And then last night, the T-Wolves lost to a mostly Steph Curry-less Warriors.
Yep.
And they're going to face a Steph Curry-less Warriors coming up. We'll talk more about that again in a few minutes. But the Pacers were down 17.
22.
It got up to 22?
No. They were down 20.
Oh, but they were down 17 going into the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And then they came back. And they needed to miss a free throw intentionally. And then they did. And Tyrese Halliburton got his own rebound. A mortal sin on a 5th grade basketball team. Who's got the shooter? I don't know. No one wearing a what do they call it? Wine and burgundy uniform. That's the Cavs colors. Not a single one of them. He gets the ball back. Bang, bang. Hits a 3. Take your overrated chance. Shove them where the sun don't shine. And I actually had this thought. I was texting a little bit with our guy, Zach Harper, over the last couple of days of watching hoops and thinking back to the conversation that Zach and I had a month or 3 weeks ago, talking about the NBA draft lottery and how we should be incentivizing teams to win. And if they fall short, like, you shouldn't be like, oh, sorry, you get a crappy lottery pick. It should be like, oh, you just fell short. Let's see what happens if we give you a young superstar with the top pick in the draft, and let's not even unweight the lottery. Let's reverse weight the lottery. Could you imagine if, like, the Pacers had another star, how good they would be? Because all they've done is taken the picks that they've got. One, they hit on Tyrese Halliburton in a way nobody thought Tyrese Halliburton could be hit upon. He's a genuine, all-NBA, second-team type of player. He's awesome. And then they've taken a whole bunch of guys who are really athletic, play really hard, that are just good basketball players. They're well coached. Nobody seems to have a huge ego, except for they collectively have an enormous ego. They believe they can beat anyone, and they just go out and, hey, we're not scared anytime, anywhere. And I don't know if the Pacers can win a championship. I'm pretty sure they're not good enough to win a championship. But man, are they going to always get the most out of their roster. And I think that is just so tremendously fun. And really, frankly, you want championships as a sports fan, but if you can't guarantee a championship, that's what you want. You want a team that's going to go out and play as hard as they possibly can, that you're going to have a lot of fun watching. And the Pacers tick every single box along that.
Yeah, and that's the good thing about the Pacers, because they don't get away from their identity. All yesterday when they were down 20, the broadcast team, your guy Spiro Adidas, they kept on saying, "Oh, this team can't, win off the dribble. They just play team basketball." And guess what? In the fourth quarter, when the Cavs had not a lot in the tank and they weren't able to get around them screens, and they were giving up threes and things of that nature, it ended up working for the Pacers. And it's just a testament to, like, who they are. Like, they didn't get away from, like, their identity, and just being able to, I mean, at the end, I just understood it's 4 quarters in the game. Like, those first 3 quarters, they definitely got outplayed, but Donovan Mitchell wore down. That's why at the end of the game, when you saw him not box out Tyrese Halliburton gets his own offensive rebound, and he hits the shot at the end. It's just like, it's 4 quarters. Donovan Mitchell clearly needs help because his 48 wasn't enough. But hopefully they get, their guys back in game 3. I mean, if they don't, they're in trouble.
Think of the sentence you just said. His 48 points are not enough.
It wasn't.
Come on. It's we gotta get some help. We gotta get some help for Donovan Mitchell. But that's the other thing too, is like, we think we know what's gonna happen in certain playoff series, and then injuries have a massive effect, because the help for Donovan Mitchell is Darius Garland. He's out. Evan Mobley last night, out. Like, you are missing DeAndre Hunter. Like, you are missing 2 borderline all-stars in Garland and Mobley, and a guy that's making, how much is DeAndre Hunter making?
I don't know, but he's been a great piece. I don't know, they won like 12 straight games when they first acquired him.
Yeah, he's real good. DeAndre Hunter contract. He signed a 4-year, $90 million extension with the Hawks a couple years ago. Like, just a really, really genuinely good basketball player. And a guy that plays both ends of the floor, but can create shots if you need, reliable knockdown shooter. Like, of course this Cleveland team is struggling. The fact that they won, or that they were up 20, is a testament to how great Donovan Mitchell was last night. But at the end of the day, you gotta have your talent. Indiana's found a way to keep theirs on the floor. Cleveland's hurt, and now they're going to need to win 4 of 5 games, including 3 on the road, if they're going to advance on to the Eastern Conference Finals in a season where they were the dominant number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. The Warriors have been stunningly good in the playoffs without Steph Curry over their history, but is this team going to be able to do what they did last night against the Minnesota Timberwolves without Curry, who's out for the next week with a hamstring strain? We will discuss what we saw last night and what we can expect moving forward next, before Todd McShay joins us, talking about why he was so fond of the Commanders draft, coming up at 4:30. It's Hoffman Show. We're on the Team 980. We are always live as well on the free Odyssey app. We are streaming live on YouTube, too, at the Team 980. Todd McShay is going to join us coming up in about 10 minutes here on the show. Of course, McShay with The Ringer now. He is an NFL draft analyst for years with ESPN, and he was one of the first people in the aftermath of the NFL draft to be like, yo, no one's talking enough about what the Commanders did. So why is he so high on what Washington did, what Adam Peters did? We'll talk to McShay coming up in just a little bit. But last night, as we wrap up our NBA talk here off the top of the show, Steph Curry goes down middle of the second quarter for the Warriors. Just feels a little twinge in his hamstring, and tries to shake it out. Doesn't shake out because it's strained. And he ultimately asks out of the game and is like, hey, Steve, I need someone to come play. And it's reported by Shams Charania earlier today from ESPN that he is not only not going to play in Game 2, but he's out for at least a week. So that is the latest on that. But despite that, Anthony, the Warriors win and win handedly. They win 99-88 in what is obviously a pretty putrid offensive game all around. The Wolves in this game shot 5 of 29 from 3. Just some horrid shooting performances in a couple of these games. 5 of 29. That's over the Celtics. The Celtics missed 45 threes in their Game 1 loss to the Knicks. And to me, the way the Warriors won this is actually the most interesting thing, Anthony, because if they can be great defensively, they can win this series without Curry. If it becomes a shootout and Anthony Edwards is starting to go crazy, you need Curry scoring. And last night, by the way, they were plus 10 in 13 minutes with Curry on the floor. He went 5 of 9 and hit 3 threes on 6 attempts. So, I said going into the series after he was on the in the Amen Thompson clamps for the Houston series, he was going to feel like a free man. And sure enough, he's literally firing up a 3 every other minute in this game, and then he gets hurt. So from a scoring standpoint, this is going to hurt a lot. But if you're telling me we're replacing Curry with Moses Moody and Gary Payton II, and defensively you're just going to be a really, really nasty team that then offensively is running your stuff through Jimmy Butler, slowing it down, get him the ball in the mid-post, Buddy Hield's running all over the place, cutting. That's a formula that you can take one of the next 3 games with. And if you get back to Game 5 at 2-2 and Curry comes back, now you got to win 2 out of 3 to win the series. And they certainly can do that. It's not ideal. 2 of those 3 games would be on the road, but they just won on the road without him. So that's kind of where I'm at going into this. This is obviously a huge bummer, but considering how they won, if they can repeat 90% of the performance defensively, I actually think they can be okay. And they're going to play very differently, but there's a path here.
Yeah, I mean, even if you look at the game, the Timberwolves' last game against the Lakers, they didn't shoot the ball extremely well. So I think Minnesota, they've shown that they can overcome, shooting woes. But their last 2 games, Craig, going 12 for 76 from 3.
Did you see when Dave McMenamin asked Ant about, there was him and Julius Randle in the postgame, and Anthony Edwards' face almost fell off of his face.
It's ridiculous.
He was just mouth just jaw dropped. Randle just starts laughing, and they start looking, and he's just like, oh my God. And McMenamin's laughing, asking the question. He's like, I don't know what to tell you guys. These are the stats. And they're like, damn, it didn't realize it was that bad.
Yeah, so they've definitely been shooting the ball well, including Anthony Edwards. And in the first half, he only had 1 point. He went over 8 from the field, and it's because he was settling all jump shots, Craig. Second half, he turned it up more downhill. And even in the fourth quarter, we saw Rudy Gobert getting a little involved. So I think the Timberwolves, they're going to focus on, attacking the paint just because, again, the Golden State Warriors are undersized. The tallest guy is 6'7". Kevon Looney, when he steps on the floor, he's 6'9". But they are a small team, and settling for threes, especially if you're missing, only goes in the favor of the Golden State Warriors. So I think they're going to have to adjust their game plan, and that's the good thing about series. Like, we got to see, like, what team adjusts and, how they can, take advantage of those adjustments.
Quentin Post becomes a really interesting guy, the Golden State rookie, who can provide them a little bit of offense because he can shoot it.
Yeah.
And provides them size.
Yeah.
And so I kind of wonder, I know this sounds weird, but like, instead of saying, all right, we're going to put Moses Moody in the starting lineup, do you just play Post? Like, does your starting lineup become Green, Butler, Post, Healed, Podziemski? And say, we'll trust Podziemski and Butler and Draymond. Like, Draymond plays point forward anyway.
Yeah.
It keeps us, and now all of a sudden we're like really big. The Podziemski is your smallest guy, and he's typically playing a 2-guard anyway. But you just go that route and say, we get a little extra shooting on the floor. We're going to play some inverted pick and roll stuff or some pick and pop stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff you can do if you're Steve Kerr to try to take some different swipes at this. Obviously, Looney as a more traditional big. Last night he's got 6 rebounds in 14 minutes. You can count on him. You have the Kuminga card you can play if you want just more scoring punch, period. And then you have Moody if you just want to get really, really, really defensive. Moody was minus 14 in 9 minutes. Post, by the way, plus 14 in 6 minutes last night. So fun with small sample sizes. He didn't really do anything in those minutes. He had 1 rebound. That was it in 6 minutes. But when he's on the floor, like, clearly things went well. So I think the knowing how athletic and how up and down Minnesota's capable of being, and knowing that, like, when they slow the game down, it's not like Rudy Gobert becomes this impossible to deal with offensive force. Do you just slow the game down if you're Golden State, try to make sure you get good shots, hit a high percentage, even if it's a lower number of total volume than you typically get, set your defense and make life miserable for them offensively and try to ride that. That would be my game plan. But Steve Kerr's getting paid a lot more money to be a lot smarter than me, and he knows his team a lot better. But that's I think, how I would treat it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you got to do. You got to run through Jimmy. You got to run through Draymond. It's not going to be the same kind of, run and gun that you had with Steph Curry. And even with him, like, it's not necessarily run and gun. But
you have to change your offense. Like, instead of being a motion offense where everything is built off of Steph's movement, you just say, like, everybody spread out. Ball's going to Jimmy at the high post. As Jimmy said, by the way, real things today is all Jimmy Butler and Buddy Hield, and I can't wait for it. But, Buddy, you're not a cutter. But, like, Podziemski is. Draymond is. Post can space the floor. Buddy can space the floor. And, Moody's a great cutter. Kuminga's a great cutter. So there's things you can do. Yep. Yeah, GP is an unbelievable cutter. So definitely things the Warriors can do. Going to be a lot of fun to watch the chess match in the series without Curry. And then we'll see what happens when we get back. Coming up in the 6 o'clock hour, we'll preview tonight's action in the NBA as round 2 continues. Up next, though, the Ringers, Todd McShay. It's the Hoffman Show. We're on the Team 980. We're always live as well on the free Odyssey app. We're streaming live on YouTube too at the Team 980. NFL draft is in the books, but when we can get really smart people on to continue to talk about it, get new perspectives, then we're going to do that. And there are a few better in the NFL draft space than Todd McShay. Of course, years at ESPN now with The Ringer, doing a great podcast there. Actually, I was listening to the show this morning. I want to ask him about why he did the episode that he did in his most recent episode as well. But we're going to talk mostly about the Commanders draft with Todd. Now, Todd, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Welcome to the show.
Good to be on with you, man. So someone still wants to talk to me. That's a good thing.
Yeah, still want to talk to you. Look, man, we're doing a sports radio show. This time of year, it's like, oh man, the draft's over. What do we talk about? Especially, we don't. The Wizards are hopefully going to make the playoffs eventually. We don't have NBA playoffs to talk about. We're not a show that does a ton of hockey. So if we can stretch the football content, you know how that goes. And if not, Todd, now that you're doing the show year round, you're going to learn.
I am learning on the fly, I promise.
Yeah, for sure. So again, Todd's show now going year round. He was joking on the show today. Typically got to go into hibernation until at least August, but nope, he's year round now. And I just want to start, Todd. You mentioned on one of your shows recently, post draft, that you don't think people are talking enough about what the Commanders did. What about what Adam Peters and his team did here in DC? Did you like so much that you don't know that they're getting enough credit for just how smart it was?
I just thought. I mean, the first, 4 picks, I guess it was, in my opinion, they were kind of ahead of the curve and got players, or the first 3, I should say, got players that absolutely, I expected to come off the board earlier than they did. Josh Connerly at 29, I guess it wasn't that much later than what I expected, but it also was an offensive tackle run that happened fast, and when the shelf fell off, there was just nothing left, you know. And we can get into all of them, but Connerly specifically, and I'm guessing people were like, well, we just brought in Laramie Tunsil, and we're drafting a left tackle, and he played left tackle at Oregon the last couple of years, but Connerly's 21 years old, man. Like he's just a pup. And a lot of people in the league think, and I tend to agree, like this is a player who, with continued like strength development, his core strength, and continuing a little bit with the hand usage, he can develop into a really good starting left tackle. But right now, he might be a really good starting guard in the NFL. And you say, well, like, is that what we really want to spend in the first round pick? And my answer is like, look at where some of the guards went. We had a guard taken at 12 in Tyler Booker. We had another one in Zabel. We had Donovan Jackson, all going in the first round. And again, like Laramie Tunsil is a great player. Laramie Tunsil turns 31 years old in August, and he's on his 3rd team. And so this may not be – it is a tremendous signing, and it may be a tremendous signing and acquisition and, an asset for this team, especially with a young star quarterback. There's nothing more important than protecting him. But maybe it's only for a couple of years, and maybe you're developing Josh Connerly. And also, don't forget, Sam Cosme is coming off of the surgery.
Right.
And, it's pointing towards he'll be ready, but until you know, you don't know. And so if the best asset in this organization is Jaden Daniels, you better be prepared to protect him, and you better have backup plans. And so if you draft maybe a starting guard or a guy who can play multiple positions along your line at 21 years old and can develop him, the fastest 10-yard split of any offensive lineman this past year, you watch him like ultra quick feet, fits that system perfectly with the zone blocking. Like I think if you have to just watch one tape, go watch Penn State. He's the only guy that really gave Abdul Carter fits and kind of pissed him off, to be honest. He got frustrated as the game went on. So there's just a lot to like there in terms of the development. And we can get into the rest of the picks, but I like the foresight and the flexibility for this year, but also maybe you're getting your starting left tackle for 3 years down the road, and you did it late in the first round. It's an organization that didn't have a ton of foresight for a long, long time. And now they're acting the part, and I just appreciated that. I was curious to see, they haven't drafted this late. They haven't been a playoff team. How do they handle this? And I think Adam Peters, like right out of the gate, is making personnel decisions that are a step ahead that we're used to seeing from like the Ravens when they had Ozzie and Eric DeCosta. We're used to seeing from Howie Roseman and Brett Veach with the Chiefs, Roseman with the Eagles, obviously. Like I appreciate what they're doing as an organization now.
So we will get into the other picks, but let's stick with Connerly for a second, because I think the thought here, Todd, is that he's probably going to play right tackle with Brandon Coleman kicking inside. But Dan Quinn was very clear, like, these guys are going to compete. That's how they do business here. And so if Coleman winds up being the better tackle and Connerly winds up being the better guard, they could certainly go that route until Tunsil's time is done at left tackle, and then one of them presumably kicks back out there. But when you think of other guys that have started, like Tristan Wirfs is obviously the ultimate example, and I don't think anyone thinks Connerly's can become Wirfs, because why would you? Because Wirfs might be the best tackle in the whole league, and projecting that is bold. But when you think about guys that either start at tackle, right tackle, and then kick to left, or play guard and then kick back outside of tackle, how does that typically work from a development standpoint, and how viable is that development plan?
I think it's very viable when you have his tools, his athleticism, his movement skills, and again, you're only 21 years old. That's what they're betting on here, and it's a really good bet, because like, I'll be interested to see with the right tackle if that's how they wind up going. Like, he didn't look great as a right tackle at the Senior Bowl at times, but he also, like, he was a full-time starting left tackle, 3 years, 2-year starter at Oregon at the left tackle position, and so, like, people always say, well, you can just kick outside to right if you played left. That can be a harder transition, just with the steps and kind of mirroring in reverse order what you're doing. But again, when you're that young and you have that athleticism, these are things that I really think that he's capable of doing. And that's what they see in him, is that versatility, whether it's at right tackle, at guard early, and maybe eventually at left tackle. It's a plan, and it gives, you know what it does more than anything? It gives you flexibility. Like, if he does work out at right tackle, Coleman kicks inside the guard, you hope the Cosme comes back and is 100%. Like, you just can't enter the season with any quarterback, but especially when it's your star quarterback that is carrying this team. You have to make sure that you have that solidified, and I think that the organization, like, that was a major step towards solidifying that offensive line for a while.
Todd McShay, NFL draft analyst for The Ringer, with us here on the Hoffman Show. Of course, Craig Hoffman with you here on the Team 980. There's some new reporting today about Trey Amos, Todd, that apparently there was like a back injury that some teams discovered late in the process that might have caused him to drop. Adam Peters seemed like genuinely stunned he was there for him at 61. Where were you on Amos? Where did you have him? And, you know, how nervous if you get told late in the process, like, oh, he's got something with his back. How far would that have dropped him potentially on your board?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that part comes down to the medical team and what does that entail? Is that it's going to be something that is hindering him? Is that something that, like, we're worried about the long term? And obviously, you know, the organization, when it comes to medical and it comes to you know, the character can be different. When it's the medical, you have the scouting combine, and you have the combine rechecks. Each team has their own doctors, and there's very few things that get past NFL teams from a medical standpoint. What is the difference from organization to organization is what they deem acceptable, right? And so for one team, it could be take him off the board. I'm not saying Amos specifically. I'm saying in general.
Right.
A certain injury could be take him off the board. Another one could be, well, we value the first and second round picks as, you know, we have to hit on starters, and if this is a concern for the first, you know, so there's different medical standards for each team. What I can tell you is that there was some back information that came out, and I don't know how late you want to call it, but I also know that most evaluators had him late first, early second. You know, and this is a guy who played 34 games at Louisiana Lafayette, transferred to Alabama, kind of just, and I give him a lot of credit, man. It's kind of like, it didn't work out here, moving on, and then came to Ole Miss in 13 starts and played his best ball. He's got the height, you know, almost 6'1", well packed together, longer arms, and he's just like, cover three, quarters, press man, he can do it all. And I think his eyes in zone and man coverage, I really think he's got the chance to continue to get better with more game experience. And he had 3 interceptions last year, but I think he's one of those guys that can take the football away. And now you kind of shift your focus now that you have this offense that you have with the quarterback that you have. And it becomes about being like fierce, aggressive, getting the ball, taking it away, finding ways to get the ball in Jaden's hands more. And I think Amos fits that plan.
And we know that's how Dan Quinn wants to play, aggressive, violent.
Exactly.
He fits the culture. He fits their prototype. When you think about the cornerback position specifically, Todd, as someone who's done this for as long as you have, scouting corners, like corner is the most volatile position probably in the entire league. I mean, forget trying to project college guys. You have guys that have been all pros that 2 years later are out of the league because they change systems, they change schemes, and the cliff is so steep at the end.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you really prioritize at corner that you found, okay, I can rely upon this, and then maybe another trait that you typically go, all right, that part is a projection. There's nothing I can do about that.
It is. You're absolutely right. It's not a tricky position necessarily to evaluate like the talent level. It's so much contingent on them landing in the right place in the right scheme. Generally speaking, teams don't draft a square to put it in a circle hole. They know what they're looking for, but that doesn't mean that scheme's going to be the same in a year or two, right? And I've even seen this year there's some defensive coordinators that are moving over that are like zone heavy, don't play a lot of cover three, but play cover two, whatever it is. And now all of a sudden you get all this personnel, and so guys are moving around. That's the hard part that can't be necessarily predicted, although you trust that NFL teams are going to draft them. Here's the thing. There are 3 things that are really important with cornerbacks. One to me is if you're probably no position has a combination of 2 measurables that are more important than arm length and 40 time for a corner, especially most importantly for man-to-man cover corners, okay? The second part is the ball skills. What is their – and it's not necessarily even the interceptions, like do they have great hands or they play corner because they're not a receiver. It's more how comfortable are they when the ball's in the air. You really want to study a guy and figure out like the projection. How does he look in that final split second when the ball's in the air, his back's turned to the quarterback, and like is he making a lot of contact? Are there pass interferences? Is he getting lost? Like you can be in perfect phase and have unbelievable coverage, but if you go to turn your head around and you get lost frequently, that's something that typically doesn't change. It's kind of like an instinct and a feel. And then the third thing to me, and I think it gets overlooked a lot, especially with guys that are playing like off coverage, zone, football intelligence. Like Richard Sherman had terrible, 40 time and all those. Richard Sherman was brilliant, and he just would diagnose things faster. And it's not just about like reading the quarterback's eyes, which everyone thinks, and absolutely is an important part. It's also about studying and the tendencies. And if he's going to stem this route this way, then I need to protect myself because he likes to double move up. It's putting in the work combined with a level of football intelligence, and that's what I see. And those guys can typically play a little bit of multiple scheme and do different things. Like Charvarius Ward, for example, for San Francisco, one of the reasons why he's so successful when he was in San Francisco and he moved in the offseason is that he could do multiple things because he's got such good football intelligence. And so it's kind of a combination of all those things. I know I went on a rant, but excuse me, the thing that I like about Amos is, and I started it off by saying, like, he can play cover three, play quarters. He can play press man. So I think that they like the fact that his football intelligence and the way he tracked this past year shows a player that's ascending in that regard.
Todd McShay, NFL draft analyst for The Ringer, with us for a few more minutes here on the Hoffman Show. You said you liked their first three first-round picks. And actually, you guys mentioned on your show that I listened to this morning, your most recent podcast episode, about Jalen Lane. Why are you so high on Lane, and why were you, along with Adam Peters, surprised that he was available for them at pick 128 towards the end of the fourth round?
Yeah, I really would have started off the show this way instead of Connerly. I should have.
Yeah.
I love Jalen Lane, man. I love him. I know he's 5'9" and 3/4, but he's well built at 191. He's got longer arms. He ran a 4.34. Listen to this. You ready? You probably heard it at this point. You probably heard everything about it. But no wide receiver in the past decade at the Combine has posted a better trio of results in the 40, which he ran a 4.34, the broad jump, 11 foot, and the 3-cone. And
wow.
So you're talking the top end speed. The broad jump is the lower body explosiveness, and then the 3-cone is like the change of direction, body control, stop, start, all and then you watch him on tape. And here's the thing: like Jalen Lane he began his career at Middle Tennessee State, and then obviously wound up at Virginia Tech in 2023. He was the best receiver. His numbers just sucked because they didn't have a quarterback throwing the ball. He combined for 79 catches, just over 1,000 yards. But when you look at what he had to do in order to get that production, it was like bubble screens, quick game, reverses, like the return game. He's outstanding. He was 26th nationally in combined kick return yards going back to 2021, and ranked second nationally in punt return average with 15.5 back at MTSU. So this guy does a little bit of everything. He's really good with the ball in his hands. Like that's where he's excellent. I think he might be the most underrated wide receiver from this entire class. And then I think about him in Cliff's system and what they like to do. And like, wouldn't it be nice to get the ball out and get it to a guy that can create something on one of these quick hitters, And they've got Terry and they've got Debo, but now they've got one of those like guys, And as a route runner, he's not refined yet. But I watched him, like if you do these clip reels that we have on the tape with like we combine with like catapult video with the PFF Ultimate, and you can do it by clips of like routes 11 to 20 yards and different, to show the intermediate. When he actually did it, he's like, there's some Tank Dell type stuff in there, like the footwork and the quickness. So I just, and then talking to scouts that I really trust, the leadership, football character, all the things, like he just fits. He's going to fit really well in that room with Terry. And I don't know. They got a lot better with that player in a multitude of different ways. And I'm certain that they're just thrilled thinking about what they can wind up doing with him in Cliff's offense. I'm sure Cliff is just like, in the room designing different ways to get him involved with Debo and his versatility and like it's going to be a lot of fun to watch this year, man.
No, I know he's the number one punt returner on their board, not to mention what he brings offensively, hopefully in supplement to Debo, or if Debo doesn't wind up working out, replacing Debo kind of long term. So that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. An easy button for Jaden over the next, hopefully, 5-10 years here in D.C. Todd McShay is with us. Last question for Todd on the way out here. So Todd, I do a podcast with Logan Paulson, who played 10 years in the league as well. And Logan actually, unknowing that you were coming on the show today, sent me your most recent episode this morning and was like, I really like this premise. And for those that haven't had a chance to listen to it, Todd and his crew went back and looked at the draft and was like, basically, what can we learn? What did we get wrong? As opposed to the typical, like, oh, this guy got overdrafted, underdrafted because it was different than my board. You guys looked at it as like, why did we get it wrong based off of what we thought versus maybe what the league is telling us? Why did you want to embark on that? And what were maybe the one or two biggest things, macro, as opposed to the individual lessons that you talk about on the pod, that you learned from doing that exercise?
I wanted to do it because I've always been shown the door, like on Monday after the draft. That's the front door. The highway's up there. You take 84 to 90, you'll be home in 2 hours. We'll see you in August. So, and I just feel like this is the time of year I've never been able to go back and actually evaluate. And like today we have another show that's coming out in just an hour or so, and it's about offensive skill position players that were drafted in the AFC, and we'll do the NFC on Monday. So I've never been able to do these types of shows before because no one really wanted to talk about it. And I wanted to start our off season with, all right. And Gary Horton got me into the business. He worked with Belichick and Saban and all those guys in the Browns, and he bounced around in the league and was with like Frank Kush and Mike White in college. And he started this 33rd scouting department, if you will, and we worked with NFL teams for a couple of years and realized we needed to make a salary, and we wound up with Sporting News and then ESPN. But one of his early lessons to me was, like, you can have your opinion, and you need to be strong in your opinion and believe what you say. But I also want to remind you, there's a lot of really smart people and a lot of really, money-rich organizations that are investing a lot of money into this. So, like, the premise needs to always be, and I think what we need to help represent sometimes is they didn't just wake up in the morning and try to screw it up, right? And so, like, I always hear after, like, well, they did a terrible job based off of my rankings and my rank. Okay, but, like, maybe they, first of all, maybe they just got it right, and they've got 13 people in their scouting department, and they have all sorts of resources. Maybe it's just better than my eye on this specific player, or had more information. But maybe for them, player 23, on my board deserved to be picked 9 because he just fits what they want to do, and it's not reaching for need. It's actually they know their system. So we went through the entire draft and just picked out. Steve mentioned, I'm my co-host too. I've worked with for 25 years. We picked out guys. Like, I wasn't as high on Tedero and McMillan, but you look at the situation he's in, and you need to have a smaller quarterback, and now he's got bigger targets in Carolina. And so we went through and tried to figure out, all right, here are the spots that we were way off our rankings versus where they were drafted. Let's do an honest assessment, stick to our evaluation, but let's show, okay, maybe this will work. And if it does work, what are the lessons that we can learn?
I love it. And there's a really good chance that that's going to be the premise of our Take Command show tomorrow, because Logan likes the exercise. And who am I to argue with a 6'5", 275-pound man, Todd? That's certainly not going to be me.
I would not do that, and I appreciate him watching, and tell him I said hello.
I will. Todd McShay, you can listen to The McShay Show on Spotify and wherever you get your podcast. You can also get The McShay Report, the newsletter on the NFL Draft from The Ringer. Todd, this was great. Hopefully, now that you're not hibernating from now till August, we find another thing that you want to talk about Commanders related. You're welcome back anytime.
Sounds good, man. Good luck to you. I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Todd McShay, everybody, with us here on the Hoffman Show. When we get back, the Dallas Cowboys traded for George Pickens. What a headline. Let's dive into it with our pal Mike Leslie from WFAA ABC Television in Dallas next here on the Team 980. Hour number 2 of the Hoffman Show here on the Team 980. Always live as well on the free Odyssey app. We're streaming live on YouTube too at the Team 980. 5:30. Logan and I have a nice little chat about John Bates and Luke McCaffrey answering some mailbag questions on Take Command. You'll hear that at 5:30. 6 o'clock, Greg Wyshinski is going to join us from ESPN talking Caps. Right now, time for the day's top story, which is the Cowboys did a thing. Time to talk about it with someone who's there.
Today's top story from the perspective of someone who's there.
You are looking live.
This just in.
Not my beat.
Mike Leslie covers the Cowboys and more for WFAA TV, the ABC affiliate in Dallas. He joins us now. Mike, what's up, dude? How are you, my friend?
I'm doing all right. I'm just getting up from a nap, trying to get ready for tonight's Stars game that won't start until close to midnight. So we're doing well. How you doing?
How late's the actual puck drop time?
8:52.
Yeah, that's though. When you're in Central Time and you get stuck with the West Coast,
Central Time. Yeah, 9:52 your time.
Yeah, yeah. When you are in the Western Conference and you are actually Central Time, that can be a bit of a rough one. But hey, that's the gig, man. You got to do it.
Exactly
plus,
right.
you're a TV sports guy. You're not on till like 11 o'clock at night. Or I guess you guys have the 10 o'clock news. You're not on till like 10:25 most nights anyway.
Oh yeah, I'm a night owl anyway. But when I got 3.5-year-old and 8-month-old, yeah, they keep me ragged at the other end of the day too.
I was about to say. Plus, you got kids, so you don't care about sleep because if you cared about sleep, you wouldn't have had kids because that's how that goes. So, but you're also a guy, Mike. You've had a couple of funny run-ins over the years with various Cowboys players. So how excited are you personally for George Pickens to come to town?
Yes. We can start the clock now between this moment and the first tweet of mine that will aggravate George Pickens. Start the timer running right now. I'm intrigued. I am intrigued. This is a team that has needed to do something. This is a team that has rather desperately needed to do something like this for at least the last 2 off seasons. And this is the first time, really, since Jerry uttered the phrase that we're going to be all in, that he's done something that felt kind of all in, at least all in-ish. This is a decent-sized move from a franchise that needed a wide receiver, and they're better today than they were yesterday. It's an encouraging step for this team.
So we say that, right? Because on any given snap, George Pickens is the greatest wide receiver in the history of the NFL. This man has literally made some of the greatest catches I have ever seen, including the one he made for a touchdown against Washington last year, where I thought the ball was going to be 8 yards out of bounds, and somehow he came down with it. And I was just like, what? Did he no, he caught the ball? Like, that's who he is. The problem is the rest of the snaps, where he is incredibly inconsistent. We know that there are issues attitudinally on the field, on the practice field, and there's kind of this NFL-wide, hey, nobody takes someone that Mike Tomlin gives up on type of thing. Why can this work? What about the leadership, the room, the atmosphere, whatever it is that you think it can work in Dallas? Why can it work?
Frankly, I'm still grasping on that piece of it because all of the questions that you're laying out there are absolutely valid. And until we see it in action, we really don't know. Now, do I think Dak Prescott is a good enough leader? And do I think that CeeDee Lamb, frankly, is a good enough leader for those two guys to welcome him into this passing game and have those three prove to be a pretty lethal combination? Yeah. On the field, there's a lot of evidence that suggests this can work, especially when you consider the way that Pickens does his thing and the way that CeeDee Lamb does his thing. It looks like these are two guys that can complement one another really nicely, with CeeDee Lamb doing a lot of his work in the intermediate range and in the middle of the field, and Pickens being more of a weapon that can be useful on the outside and deeper down the football field. They feel like a good match of two guys that do things differently that can give Dak Prescott multiple options. So I think that there is football evidence that this can work. There's football reasons why this can work. And I do think that Dak and CD both have the leadership wherewithal, the leadership quotient to be able to welcome a guy like this into the franchise and make it work. I've seen some reporting today from Peter Schrager from ESPN that the attitudinal issues, as you put it, which I thought was pretty on point, may have been overblown. Now, this is the perfect time for that kind of story to come out. Of course, that kind of, language is going to come out right now after a trade. It wasn't all that bad. Of course, people are going to say that today after they trade him away. So we will see in due time once we actually see him in Oxnard for training camp and once we see him up in Frisco at the Star and how he actually interacts with this team. But again, so I don't really have a real good answer for you other than that I think Dak and Zeke are mature enough individuals to handle it on their own front. But football-wise, I can see why and how this can work.
Mike Leslie, anchor and reporter for WFAA TV down in Dallas. And with all due respect to Peter, my guy, we have so much of the stuff has been caught on camera. It's overblown, except for that one that's on camera, that one that's on camera, that one that's on camera, and all of the other things, and the bad film and all that kind of stuff. But there's no doubt that Dallas needed a vertical threat. He is probably the best one they could have gotten, especially when the draft board doesn't fall in a way where they get what they want or they choose to go other directions. And we'll talk about what they did in the draft here in a second. But then I will give you the fairness here to say, Mike, what's the best version of this? How if George Pickens is a stable version of George Pickens and gives them a legitimate downfield threat, do they have enough else around CeeDee Lamb? Have they done enough with the running back room, et cetera, the offensive line, how they've rebuilt it, to be a top 10 offense and a playoff caliber team in 2025?
I think this does enough for them to get back into the playoff conversation. I don't think it does enough for them to necessarily usurp Washington or Philly at the top of the division, but I think it makes the NFC East strong enough now that maybe you might see this be a 3 playoff team division this season. But I still think Dallas slots in 3rd in that pecking order right now after this move. I think this move helps them in a variety of ways because prior to this move, you had CeeDee Lamb truly all by his lonesome in that wide receiver room. All due respect to Jalen Tolbert and Cavante Turpin and the cast of thousands that they've tried, nobody has really popped. And they haven't done a good enough job of figuring out a way to utilize Cavante Turpin's speed, which is a legitimate weapon, as we have seen, as you guys in Washington have seen all too well in the return game. They have not done a good enough job of utilizing that in the passing game. So it was CD, and who knows what the heck else was going to happen with this wide receiver room over the course of this summer and going into the season. So they were in a position where it was going to be really easy to defend this team. Double team CD, who else is going to beat us? Now that becomes at least harder. And because that's harder, now you just, in addition to making your number 2 wide receiver better, you also just made your number 1 wide receiver better because now CD is going to be able to work at least some of the time one-on-one now, or at least less double teamed than he would have been, less of a safety shade over the top than it would have been. The defense is going to have to account for somebody else. So that's going to make CD better. That's going to make Jake Ferguson at the tight end position better. And by osmosis, through all of those things, now your offense does get better, not just with the upgrade at the number 2 wide receiver position. So I do think this helps them in a variety of ways. I do not think that they are all of a sudden, hey, that was the magic elixir and now the offense is going to be fantastic. But I do think it makes them better enough. And with, I think, what should be a good defense this year with Micah Parsons leading the charge, and shoot, the Marvion Overshown keeps on making strides that look like he's going to get back faster than we thought he was going to be. I like what they did with the Ezeraku pick in the draft. I know we're going to get into that here in a moment. So I think they've at least worked their way back into, hey, this looks like it might be good enough to hunt for a playoff spot. I'm not going much farther than that just yet.
Yeah, it does feel like they're now in this group of teams that is very large going into every NFL season, but maybe they're towards the top of it if Dak plays at a top 10 quarterback type of level, which he's fully capable of, where it's like if they don't have injury issues, they can definitely make the playoffs. And again, that's a large group of teams in the NFL. There's very few that are either definitely better than that or definitely worse than that. But it seems like this move probably gets them firmly back in or higher up in that tier. So the draft is where a lot of people thought they'd go receiver, whether it be Ted McMillan or maybe Matthew Golden even at 12. Instead, they go Tyler Booker, who attitudinally, Mike, since that's our word of the day, is the exact opposite of George Pickens, just like the best dude ever. Interesting player on tape for sure. What was the reaction in Dallas to that pick, and how do you think he fits with what they're building on the offensive line with a lot of draft capital invested over the last couple of years?
It's interesting, your question about what was the reaction to the pick and how it might be different today even than it was on draft day. Because on draft day, George Pickens wasn't a thing, and Cowboys fans were livid. The soundbite that we got from one Cowboys fan, I mean, screaming down the barrel of a camera that we had out there at the Star for the draft party about how we need weapons, and he's losing his mind about how did you guys not draft a running back or a wide receiver? We need people to help Dak Prescott. We need people to help Dak Prescott. They were not happy with it. I think the ensuing 24 to 48 hours as people got to know Tyler Booker, Micah Parsons included, I think you probably saw Micah Parsons' initial reaction to the draft pick. And then within an hour or two, Micah Parsons had kind of come around real fast on Tyler Booker. So there was a shift through the weekend in terms of how people reacted to the pick and how much people liked the guy after they got to know him even just a little bit and some of the things he had to say about who he's going to be for this offensive line and for this franchise. So I think now the draft has come and gone, and certainly this day has come and gone. I feel like people feel a lot better about that first-round pick, even though, admittedly, a guard at 12 that's rich. That's rich no matter who the player is. I think at the end of the day, when people look back on this draft 5 years from now, it's going to matter less what number you got the guy at, and it's going to matter more, did you get a player? And I think there's a pretty good chance that when we look back at this draft in 5 years, the Cowboys are going to be able to say, we got a player in that draft.
For sure. And they also got a couple other guys later on that I like. And part of it is like, look, you get some name recognition, some guys that we were looking at here in Washington. Ezra Raku was a guy that a lot of people thought that the Commanders could take at 29. They obviously go in a different direction. Is there another pick, whether it's Ezra Raku or someone else, that you're like, I think this guy makes a big impact? I mean, Siobhan Revelle is another really interesting one. Jadon Blue is an interesting one. Like, those are guys that have distinct positives, distinct negatives, could work, couldn't work. Is there a reason that any one of, let's just say, those three guys, Ezra Raku, Revelle, Blue, you think really fits with the Cowboys sooner rather than later?
Yeah, listen, those are the three guys. Those are absolutely the three guys that should be jumping off the page at you, because those are three guys that can, in my opinion, come in and be impact players for this team right out of the gates. I think Ezra Raku can be part of their basically six-man rotation of their edge rushers from day one. And I think Revelle, as long as, he's still on his recovery path right now. He's not back to 100%. They hope that maybe during training camp that day may come. I think he's going to start training camp on the PUP list, but they think, maybe before week one, he's back to being himself, or at least back healthy enough to go out there and do everything. Whether or not he's himself will obviously be a big linchpin in whether or not he's the player that they want him to be. But before the injury, he was a first-round pick. And even despite the injury, people had him pegged as a second-round pick, and Dallas was able to get him at 76 there in the third round. So there's a lot of value in that pick. And he's another guy that comes with, talking about Tyler Booker and the attitude and the positivity, he's a guy that comes with an awful lot of positives from a personal standpoint. Guy who was working in an Amazon overnight distribution center for a period earlier on in his career before football really started to pop for him. Had a great year at East Carolina and had pretty much everybody in the SEC all over him. Hey, come play for us for a year and then go to the NFL. And he said, these are the people that trusted and believed in me. I'm hanging here. And then had a big injury, came back from that injury, had another big injury, and now here he is still working his way back into the NFL draft. He's kind of a Disney movie all by himself, frankly, with the twists and turns that his life has taken. And then, I think Jadon Blue, if nothing else, pure speed. And Dallas's offense could use a heaping dose of that as well. They did not have anything in the way of a passing game to anybody coming out of the backfield. Hunter Lipke had their longest reception last year. Fullback Hunter Lipke had their longest reception out of the backfield last year. I think Jadon Blue is going to change that at the very least.
Last question for Mike Leslie, because it's required when we have someone on from Dallas. My joke during the draft, Mike, was I really like what Dallas did, but don't worry, Jerry will mess up all their second contracts. What's the latest with Micah? Is there any chance this thing gets done in any kind of regular order fashion for the rest of the NFL, or is Jerry going to wait far too long and then wind up having to pay him $10 million a year more than he would have if he had just paid him early?
This is going to be the top story on First Take every morning for the entire summer. It's going to come and go, and the deal will get done just like Dak and CD did right before the regular season, because that is Jerry's MO. That is Jerry's desire, is to have that conversation percolate around his team day after day after day, week after week after week, because he sees the value in that more than he sees the value in whatever million or two a year that he might save himself in signing Micah now, or heck, 6 months ago, or whatever the case may be, where it would have been smarter. We saw this with Dak. We've seen this with CD. We've seen this with Dak twice. We saw this with CD Lamb. This is what he does. What he's doing with Micah Parsons right now, and it's what he's already telegraphing he's going to do with Tyler Smith. This is what he does. The rest of the league looks at him and goes, "You're out of your mind." On some level, from a non-football side of things, maybe there is some logic, because his team is always talked about and they do print money because of it. I guess there's probably a positive side of this strategy, but from a football perspective, it does not work, and it continues to not work. They're good at drafting. that is the list of things they are good at from a team building perspective. The rest of the list, they leave a ton to be desired.
Jerry should, like, the counterfactual here is what happens if you're good? Like, how much money does that make you? And does it hurt the brand to be constantly made fun of for being absolutely foolish for, I don't know, we're going on 3 decades now. It's just, It's so very silly. And he's just not going to stop because that's who he is. He's Jerry.
He's set in his ways. It is going to be his way or the highway forever. And I said that at one point leading into maybe it was after they made the Tyler Booker pick that everybody was kind of railing on. Why would you pick a guard this early? What are you doing? That's not how you build a franchise. And again, the conjecture on Tyler Booker has come around rather quickly. But regardless of how you feel about the pick and about picking a guard at 12, it doesn't matter. You're shouting into the void. You're not going to convince him to change. This is what they believe. This is what they are going to do. That's the all of it. And anything that you're trying to speak into existence to the contrary is just frankly a waste of your time because they have their MO and that's what they're going to do.
This is an awkward question to ask, but I'm going to ask it anyway, and I'll be as delicate as I can. When nature ultimately runs its course with the 80-something-year-old Jerry Jones, and eventually Stephen Jones is running the franchise, that is the delicate setup. Will Steven do the same thing? I
understand where you're going. Yeah,
Will Steven do the same thing? Or when the second Steven's in charge, will he be like, all right, early extensions. I get how this is supposed to be done.
That's a very interesting question because there is certainly a tug of war between the two of them on a variety of topics. And we've seen that. We've seen that for 30 years. That goes all the way back to Jerry Jones, obviously Jerry. This goes all the way back to Deion Sanders, signing Deion Sanders in the mid-'90s, and Steven having Jerry up against the wall. There has been a tug of war. There has been a difference of opinion in terms of how to build a roster. This goes back to obviously the Johnny Manziel, Zach Martin decision. I mean, there have been multiple instances where they have been at odds, and Steven does seem to be the more pragmatic, lower key, more conservative approach mentality. And Jerry's the wildcatter. We're going to do whatever we got. And we've seen through the history of this franchise how the needle has moved more in Steven's direction over the course of time. This is a team that used to be really active in free agency. They'd go out and make splashy signings like Deion. They'd go out and make splashy trades like bringing in Joey Galloway. And I think because some of those things didn't work, Steven has been able to kind of periodically and systematically work his dad in his direction, or at least win more of the battles because he's had things work out. Zach Martin working out over Johnny Manziel was a big feather in his cap to get dear old dad to let him, take the reins a little bit more and have a little bit more sway in these decision-making processes. So we've seen how it has evolved. So yeah, it will be interesting to see where, does the needle peg in the other direction when, as you said, when nature takes its course. It will be very interesting to see how that evolves whenever that time comes. But yeah, hard to say for sure, but it does feel like there will at least be a noticeable change, if nothing else.
For sure. And at the very least, in this very one specific contract extensions for in-house superstars way, like that has been a very Jerry way of doing business. And we'll see eventually, some years from now, how that changes over. Mike Leslie, WFAA TV in Dallas, ABC, Channel 8. Mike, always a pleasure to catch up, my friend. And
likewise.
Enjoy the very late hockey game tonight.
Will do, buddy. Take it easy.
You too. That's Mike Leslie with us here on the Hoffman Show. When we get back, we will let you hear a couple of mailbag questions that we got into Take Command about two guys that we get questions about a lot. One tight end, one of the backups, and one receiver who a lot of people wanted to see a lot more of last season. That's next on the Team 980. It's the Hoffman Show. We're on the Team 980. We're always live as well on the free Odyssey app, and we're streaming live on YouTube too at the Team 980. Take Command Mailbag is how we start the week on our podcast, the one I do with Logan Paulson. And we got two questions about John Bates and Luke McCaffrey that I thought were really interesting, and we get questions about those two on this show as well, so I wanted to share this portion of the pod with you. For more from me and Logan, of course, search Take Command wherever it is you get your podcasts, including on YouTube, where you can watch full episodes at the Team 980. And without further ado, here is me and Logan. Don't forget, we got Greg Wyshinski coming up talking Caps at 6 o'clock. But now, without further ado, your boys talking ball. Take Command podcast, wrapping up here with again, your questions, HoffmanShow.com. Use the contact page or Instagram at Hoffman.sports or Logan_Paulson82. This one came via email, Logan, from Austin, who said, can you and Logan, players who have good to great separation targets or production? Luke McCaffrey comes to mind with multiple games with the best separation, but low production. I've been head why he doesn't get more targets if he can separate. So just to, I think, support this with some data, I think a lot of folks look at the separation data from Next Gen Stats, and each game there's like a little web graphic that Next Gen Stats produces that's available on their website, and often have the highest separation. Obviously, folks get film clips or whatever. They say, oh, Luke was open here, but he obviously and didn't see a lot of balls in his freshman season, his rookie year, if you will, in the NFL. So why does this happen?
Yeah, so I think a couple things. One, I think the way that they determine that is like its proximity to nearest defender based on GPS data.
Yes.
And so, for example, like Logan Paulson has great separation data versus but like back in 2017. Why is that? Because Logan Paulson was just chipping and running to a flat, and I was not covered on all those routes. Like, so it looks like, oh, wow, Logan's really routing people up. Look how open he is. He's doing a great job. You got to go back and watch his reps to kind of determine whether he's in the progression or not. And so I think, like for example, like, you're running a go and you're clearing out. Like, you're really not in the progression, right? And the defense at some point is going to drop you. And so I think, like, they're going to be like, this go, I can feather off this and make this play. And he'll look like he's wide open, like on a post or whatever. He'll look like he's wide open. The quarterback's not part of the quarterback's vision. People say, oh, well, that's dumb. The quarterback should be looking at him. He's wide open. You can't look at everyone all the time, right? You have to give a progression opportunity to say, this is one, this is two, this is where the ball goes for my third opportunity here. Like, you can't, a full field 5-guy deal, like, that's cartoon stuff. It just doesn't work. Obviously, Tom Brady or Peyton Manning could do that, but even them, they understand base pre-snap, like where the ball relatively should go. So there was a lot of times where people were like, oh, his separation did so good. I think Cleveland was the one that comes to mind. He ran 2 chip routes in that game and literally ending by himself on 3rd and 15 with not a soul around him for about 10 yards. So that's going to really inflate because they say, oh, here's a play where no one was around him 10 yards. The algorithm or the can understand that, like, he's not a relevant component to that play. Right. So when you watch him on more competitive ones, like the number normalizes a little bit, right? Say with separation data, you just kind of go back and say, hey, here's a couple plays. Like, someone screenshotted Luke like a through, on Dagger, which is, I think if you have this clip, I'm sorry if I get the concept wrong, but I think it was a through route, right? So that through in every offense I've been in is called a love of the game through, right? You're just running it because you love football. You're not going to get the ball. So you run through there, and the quarterback's getting ready to throw. The defense knows that too. So they're going to collapse on the dig. And Luke's going to look on a screenshot like he's open. And I think that's another thing, like the types of route he's running, where he was in the progression, like what's the down and distance, all those things factor. Luke opens for and his relative lack of production, I think.
Can I ask you then what was probably a lot of fans' follow-up then on Dagger? It's for the game through, and if the D goes in, is going to collapse on the dig again. The receiver is coming up, running, 15 yards on a dig? Your classic in cut, right? 90-degree in cut. And then you have an inside receiver Lucas Slot, who's running a go, right, just straight up the field. And if so, that's the concept, and they're going to collapse on that dig, why not like fake and then throw the go, right? So how do defenses play that? That's not an option, and thus shutting down that hypothetical.
Yeah, so obviously that route it's an alert, right? It's alert versus 2-man, right? So like if you get 2-man, so split safety and cover like that, you can throw that route. So for those Commanders fans, Kirk Cousins threw this route to Santana Moss versus Baltimore in 2012. So obviously it happens so rarely I can just call it off the top of my head, but it does happen, right?
Yeah.
You see you guys do this all the time.
It happens like once or twice where you're just like oh, sick. It's open on dagger.
Yeah.
You'll
right. But like the way defenses are, like, and the way you run that route is they have to respect it. They have to because the way you coach it is like I find so let's say I'm running the through, which I ran a lot of in my career. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. For the love of the game, Logan Paulson.
So if it's cover 2 and there's a safety to my side of the field, I'm running through the inside shoulder at safety. I'm going to run up on his toes and run through the inside shoulder, making it so that he can't bypass me. Like that's how they cut the route. If he bypasses me, then we're going to come back. They're going to put Santana Moss there. We're going to run all go special. He's going to run the same route and he's going to hit it for a touchdown, right? So that's where like you got to kind of say we're trying to throw the dig. But if the defense is not respecting the through, then we're going to call a different play and get the quarterback so his eyes are where we want them, so we get the ball completed the way we want to get.
Right.
And so that's what I'd say to that.
Yeah, the quarterback is going to look at that and just to make sure, right? He's going to make sure that the dig is open. And if the safety were to just be like, that's Logan Paulson, I'm literally not covering him, then yeah, your quarterback is probably going to see that he's wide open. But these things happen in the NFL so fast, and people love to this is why screenshots are relatively useless. Because like there are times where you screenshot, and it happens to me when I'm watching stuff frame by frame, like trying to understand a blocking surface or whatever for a running back, and you hit 1, 2, oh man, there's the hole, and then you hit the air one more time, literally the next frame, the body in the hole, and you're like, that was wide open. Where'd that guy come from? And you have to go back and trace the dude to be like, oh, he was a looper, he was this, or just that linebacker was shot out of a cannon. So these things happen very quickly, and so the safety will take he's going to take his back pedal. He's going to say, okay, I respected this. Now I'm going to see if I can this ball and break up the dagger. And the quarterback's going to try to fit it in there, and he might take a huge shot. Or if he takes one too many steps to respect that throughout, then you're going to have an easy one, and maybe you got some run after catch. Like the margins in the NFL, it's steps, it's half steps, and for a guy like Luke, I think screenshots can tell one story, data can tell one story because of where the progression, the film with a little bit deeper understanding can tell a different one.
Yeah, and I love that you brought that up, especially with the running back stuff. I mean, receivers too, because it's like I've gotten a bunch of screenshots of look at this open, but then when you go look at the clip and the guy's taking a screenshot, like the quarterback has already thrown the ball, or he's kind of made his timing of this is so important. Like everyone talks about dagger dig. Like one of the reasons you have to predetermine the dig is because the throw has to be on such good timing, right? So basically when the quarterback gets the top of his drop, if that underneath hook player attaches to the pivot route, I'm throwing the dig, right? I'm trusting that the receiver is going to protect the throw. And that's why NFL timing is different than college timing. It's different than high school timing for sure. It makes it so much more challenging to have these throws because the quarterback has to be accurate, has to have great arm velocity, but also throwing windows in a way that is so unique. And that's why you see John on Instagram losing his mind about the de-evolution of college quarterback position. It's because of stuff like this, right?
Yeah,
because of the anticipatory nature of the throws. And again, it unless you know what you're looking at sometimes, and I'm not trying to gatekeep information here,
sure,
but sometimes it gives you a false narrative of what's realistically possible in the context of the play.
For sure. You want to see what happens if you throw a dagger late on the dig late on dagger, go play Madden and throw run dagger and see how many incompletions you throw or how many times you get picked off. Say from experience, Logan. Sometimes we're a little late on the dig, and then I just need to cut that sucker loose. All right, last question comes from Max. Max says, "I've got a take command mailbag question that should be near and dear to Logan's heart. Are you ready, Logan?"
Yes.
Ball knowers seem to all agree that John Bates is an elite blocking tight end. For some reason, PFF gave him a 49.9 run blocking grade last year. I know you guys don't work at PFF, but could you talk about what makes Bates so good and maybe what is missing in PFF's grades? Love the show. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Max.
So,
appreciate the question.
yeah,
Logan.
Great question. Now,
Off you
buckle
go.
in. We've got an hour. We got to talk about tight ends blocking. Here we go. So the one thing about PFF is the way they grade is, I'm trying to remember the exact metric, but it's like a plus is a knockdown. So like a bonus play. So they call it like a 1 is what they call it, is a knockdown. So anytime that you as an offender get that guy on the ground, it's a 1. It's just a good block. It's a 0. It's like not a plus or negative. And if you lose, it's a negative, right? So I really don't love that metric for PFF for linemen. I don't think it's indicative of how productive they are. So for example, like one of the hardest blocks, in my opinion, in football is a center reaching the play side shade. So the guy that's off his snap hand shoulder, right? If a center can do that, man, like think like Jason Kelsey, that's like Hall of Fame caliber of center. They give that a 0, right? For a tight end, like man reaching a wide 9 is one of the most challenging things at the position.
So we're talking
down block.
This is one
Yeah.
where we just need to bring out the whiteboard as well.
Yeah.
But
So like a wide
basically,
9 is like I got DeMarcus Ware out here. I'm on the right side. I got DeMarcus Ware 1-on-1. I have no inside help. The tackle's in a double team with the guard. They're double teaming the 3 technique. I am by myself on an island versus the best player in football right now.
Yeah.
Right? Von Miller, great example.
And you
right?
got to get outside of him and pin him back inside.
So this is the sweet science of blocking outside zone, Craig. I got to make him feel like I'm going to reach him, but not actually reach him. Not be too short, not be too wide, because if I'm too wide, he's going to beat me inside. And if I'm too short, he's going to set a hard edge. I got to be right in that Goldilocks zone, physically down the middle, not duck my head because he's athletic enough to move. And they give that a 0, right? So that drives me nuts because it's like that block. When I see a tight end make that block, like I'm like, that dude is an absolute maniac, right? It's the same thing on power, for example, right? Or duo is a good example. All right, let's say I got a 6 technique, head up screws on me, and it's a big, Cam Jordan defensive end. The offensive line, they're going to double the 3 technique. I'm by myself versus one of the best run stopping players in football. And they give that a 0. That should for sure be a plus, in my opinion, right? But they don't have the subjectivity to the grade because they want anybody to be able to do the grading system. They want my mom to be able to get the metric and be like, is the guy on the ground? No. Is the block completed? Yes, it's a 0, right? And did the guy lose his block? So is the guy in between, is the guy attacking the ball carrier? That's a -1, right? So the metric is so simple. It doesn't account, much like the separation metric for Luke McCaffrey, it doesn't account for any of the nuance of blocking at the position for anyone blocking, even receivers, fullbacks, running back, any of that stuff, no nuance there. It's just, did they meet this binary? It's not binary because there's 3 elements, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Metric, right? So when I look at what they asked John Bates, ask him to do really hard things often. So I know, having done it, how hard this is. I know when he's playing the New Orleans Saints and he's got a down block, a 6 technique, head up 6, one of these big 280-pound defensive ends, like that's where you get paid, right? That as a blocking tight end, that's where you make your money. And when you go around the league, no one does it as well as him. He's going to lose that block. That guy is making more money than him. He's a better athlete than him. He's bigger and stronger and faster. He's going to lose it. But John Bates is able to kind of survive the down, give the back an opportunity. Again, it's what I did for the majority of my career. I don't think they understand. They definitely don't. How challenging some of that stuff is from a technical and a physical standpoint. And so when I see that grade, I'm like, if you go watch the film, I know this is a high leverage block. They're putting John on an island here. You don't do that with someone who can handle it. And he does a really good job of it week in and week out. So as an example, like my PFF run blocking grade was always hit or miss, right? But I'm blocking Calais Campbell on a down block versus the 49ers. Like he's 6'8", 290. Like at some point I'm going to lose, right? But did I give the back enough opportunity to hit the cut? Yes. Like, so that's where I'd say like it gets understanding the challenge of the position and why he's getting paid so much money to do that is because one of probably right now he's one of one in terms of guys that do that at a high level. You know, he's the Travis Kelce of run blocking tight ends. And again, like that's from a guy who did it for a long time, and I have a ton of respect for him.
Believe it or not, Logan, I don't have it here. Sure. I think that was a great action. And like, obviously, I guess what I would add is the value of that versus the value of Travis Kelce are different values, which is why Travis Kelce makes a lot because if Paulson could have been Travis Kelce, I think
I would have. I would have done that.
I don't think you would be doing a different podcast because he's got a podcast, and I do think they have a few more listeners than us, although that might have something to do with some other factors. But I do think that the what that allows you to do as an offense is got to be pretty cool if you're Cliff, to be like, oh, I can trust this guy to do that, because otherwise you have to come up with other solutions or just not call those plays. And so I do think it allows for a wider array of stuff. And then the other piece too is this question is about run blocking, but he's also a guy that you can trust on an island, almost like a tackle as a pass blocker. And yeah, it's not he's got to if he's got to block Myles Garrett, but like, what is ideal blocking Myles Garrett? Myles Garrett tripping over a shoelace is ideal to block Myles Garrett. Outside of that, like you're going to have to live with some stuff. But I think that what that allows you to do is a lot of different stuff. And then I think the next big step for John is obviously to become a more reliable and better pass catcher. And that's something that you've talked about, that you focus on that a little bit more in your career, instead of just leaning into the thing that was kind of your superpower of this incredible blocking tight end, to be like, okay, how do I get on the field for more stuff? Because that opens up the playbook even more. And I think we saw some of that last year where they were not afraid to use him as a receiver, and that made the offense less predictable, because it can't just be, oh, when John Bates is in the game, we're going to run the football. And I think that's the interesting thing to come here with Cliff, this offense and Bates moving forward now that they've signed long term.
Yeah, think about, like just how open he is on some of those throughs. Like when he comes in, you're like, this is a run.
Yeah.
And he's able to kind of work like this pop pass, and the defense there, like you can tell it's a check when he's in the game, right? And so they'll come up, they'll fit the run hard, and he's wide open on some stuff. And again, that's because his impact as a run blocker. And think about how easy that throw is for Jaden Daniels. It's like an easy button one game, and I think that's awesome. And again, like he, one of the things you said that the staff said is they want to make sure he develops as a pass catcher.
Yeah.
They're not doing that to be altruistic. They're doing that because they understand. Like, so for example, when I was here in Washington, me and DY, Darrell Young, we went in the game in regular personnel. So 21 teams would match us in goal line personnel because we were so effective at running the ball out of that. So imagine if we could run like a little pop pass or a play action pass, or we could get someone who could win versus man-to-man coverage. Like, that's devastating, because all of a sudden they've tilted their hand and said, shoot, this is how we're going to play this, because you guys are really good running the football to this formation. You've got two guys that are pretty physical that can attack our edges. Now, like, shoot, like that's a quarterback. And so building the offense out and taking advantage of those tells that the defense is trying to indicate on is extremely helpful. And so, again, I think I look at John, what he does, the matchups they put him in, how he wins those matchups the majority of the time, in my opinion, and what he can do as a pass catcher given more opportunity. And I think it's just a good piece for your offense. And there's a reason that these teams are looking for this position, this blocking wide that can block an end, but also run a seam, like, because it makes your offense so much more dangerous.
Yeah. And you only have to do that often enough to kind of get teams to stop matching you in goal line. And then you get right back to being like, okay, now we got the advantage again. Now we're just going to run the ball down your throat, because that's what we want to do with this guy in there in the first place. So you got to have the change up and throw it often enough that you can then rock the fastball with regularity and effectiveness. Logan Paulson there, Craig Hoffman here, thanking you for your mailbag questions. Great ones today. Let's get more of them in. We got a couple saved, but we certainly have some room to get more in next week's mailbag. Not exactly sure what we're doing with Thursday's show yet. We definitely take a look probably at some of the UDFAs as we're getting ready for rookie minicamp. Preview that, what kind of happens at a rookie minicamp. We'll add a little bit, and then we'll review camp next week on the show. So got lots coming here on Take Command. We got some guys that we've reached out to as well, so hopefully have some fun off-season conversations now that we're really in the throes of it. Although, Logan, OTA is happening now. So, like, what is the off-season? July is the off-season. That's when nothing.
Early season.
Yeah, that's when we really get into, like, ranking season. But for now, having some fun with what's going on, because there's still stuff happening. All right, that's our show. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Subscribe wherever you are doing so right now, and we'll see you next time on Thanks for watching this clip
of Take Command, which has a brand.
That is Take Command Podcast. You can, of course, check that out anywhere you get your podcast. And Anthony, actually, I mentioned there at the end, there some guests we had reached out to. One of them we got on the books. You want me to tell you who it is?
Sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say we can't do it next because we actually have one of this person's colleagues coming up next. ESPN's Greg Wyshinski going to join us to talk Caps at 6:00. Mina Kimes is going to join us on next week's Take Command. Mina and Logan and I are going to talk on Thursday afternoon, so that'll be out as soon as we are done taping it on Thursday. So Mina Kimes next week on Take Command, but also your mailbag questions that you can get in at hoffmanshow.com. Use the contact page, and Logan and I will answer more coming up on next week's show. When we get back, though, as I just mentioned, Greg Wyshinski talking Caps here on the Team 980. final hour here on the Team at 980 on a Wednesday. It's the Hoffman Show. And we've kind of been doing a little bit of everything today. We've had some hoops. We have had some football. Todd McShay joined us earlier. We talked, and the Cowboys and the trade with George Pickens. And that's meant we haven't yet gotten to what happened to Capital One Arena last night. But it is time to do that now. Capitals lose game 1 against the Carolina Hurricanes. And joining us to talk about it is Greg Wyshinski of ESPN. Greg, welcome back to the show, man.
It's my pleasure. I could see why you waited. It wasn't a happy time last night at Capital One Arena.
No, I mean, I guess if we wanted to mirror the game, we could have, started off with it, been like, oh, it went great, and then just ignored everything else that happened. The shot total last night, Greg, was 90-33. And look, we have guys like you on because I'm just not a big hockey guy. It's not something we do a ton on this show. Obviously, it's a huge deal with the Caps being where they are in the playoffs, and certainly no other local team in the playoffs to talk about. So we try to have smart people on to help, one, feed an audience that's hungry for hockey content, and two, to try to make me not sound totally inept in talking about it. But is it fair to say that 90-33 in shots is bad, Greg?
It's not great, but it's kind of expected. I think Dylan Strome nodded at it last night to say that they sort of like deferred to the Hurricanes and the way the Hurricanes like to play a little bit too much, and I think that's accurate. Carolina is a team that is a high shot volume team. They are usually at the top of the league in the metrics that indicate puck possession, shot attempts, like last night. And so you know what you're getting from them. No matter what you try to do, they're going to have the puck, they're going to shoot the puck, and it's contingent on you to try to limit those chances and block the shots. And for the most part, the Capitals did a good job of that last night. The disturbing part for Washington, obviously, is that the limitations on their chances last night, and that's really where I think a lot of the focus was from the players and from Coach Spencer Carberry last night, was an inability to get to their game, an inability to create zone time, an inability to get their chances, and you simply have to be able to counterpunch against that Carolina team.
So is it a matter of possessing the puck, holding it more? Is it just, hey, when we get our shots, we got to convert at a higher rate? Like, what is it that teams that are able to fight with Carolina stylistically and take away some of their fangs with what they do so well? What's the good strategy? Or perhaps the better question, Greg, would be, like, what's the best strategy for Washington given their personnel and what they want to do?
It's breaking the puck out. It's finding ways around that forecheck that Carolina is so good at implementing. And that's one of the things that the Capitals stressed last night, is just that you've got to, when you've got to be able to alleviate the pressure in your own zone, and you've got to be able to transition and get scoring chances the other way. And they really struggled with that in game 1. And there's no like great mystery to what Carolina does. It's just a matter of whether you can execute your game and not allow them to kind of dictate terms to you in the way that they did in game 1. So there are ways around it. The Hurricanes are not an unbeatable team. And in fact, I think, the physicality that the Cavs had in that game last night was a positive. You'd like to have the puck more so you're not hitting guys with the puck to get it back. But that's just going to be how it is. And again, the other thing about Carolina as well, and this has been the case for them under Rod Brind'Amour, their head coach, they play to the margins. Like it's a series of 1-goal games, and it's just a matter of who gets the last goal. And that's kind of how Carolina plays in the playoffs. And then game 1, it was them getting the last goal.
Greg Wyshinski, senior NHL writer at ESPN, with us here on the Hoffman Show. The other, generic sports talk question would be, sports talk conversation would be like, okay, well, is there a way where the Capitals can dictate on their end of it? Like, the Capitals are the number 1 seed here, and I know that a bunch of teams have made trades. Carolina made a ton of them, so, if you look at post-trade deadline and the records and the whole deal, but Washington's the number 1 seed. They have been one of the best teams in the NHL the entire season. Is there a world where Washington can dictate play and get Carolina off their game, and how would they go about doing that?
First of all, if this was the sports talk radio view of the series, it would be, what does it mean for LeBron?
That's also fair. Also fair.
Secondly, that's a great question. I mean, the seeding indicates that the Capitals had a better regular season. I think the Hurricanes are kind of up and down. Obviously, you nodded at it, the idea that Their season was kind of a quirky one with them acquiring Mikko Rantanen from Colorado in a huge blockbuster trade and then turning around and trading him to Dallas after it became apparent he didn't want to sign there. So they had kind of a disruption in their season a little bit, but and which is why I think they finished where they finished in the East. But listen, they're going to be able to do this. They're going to be able to possess the puck. They're going to be able to get their shot attempts. It's the way they play. It's very effective. The two things that the Capitals have to focus on in Game 2, like I said, one, breaking the puck out from that forecheck, alleviating the pressure, not allowing Carolina to get that third or fourth chance when they're cycling in your zone. And the other thing, too, is, they've got to take advantage of their power play opportunities. The Capitals are playing a team that was number one in the regular season on the penalty kill. They were perfect, I think, 14 of 14 or 15 of 15 against the Devils in the first round. But the Capitals in the regular season got 4 goals on 13 attempts against Carolina on the power play. And traditionally, over the last 3 seasons, has been one of the top 5 teams against that penalty kill, which is usually one of the best in the league. So they certainly have to take advantages when they do get the man advantage because, again, the scoring in this series is not going to be plentiful on either side.
Greg Wyshinski from ESPN with us here on the Hoffman Show. Obviously getting some goals from Ovechkin, that's going to have to be necessary. He's their best offensive player still 20 years into this. But one of the guys who had one of the best opportunities last night was Ryan Leonard, their youngster. Is it fair to say that he needs, is it fair, not just for us to, sports talk radio it up, Greg, to be like, this guy needs to. It's like, or what? I don't have any control over his future, his job, his anything. But internally for the Capitals, is it fair for Carberry to go hey, man, I know you've been here for 5 minutes, but we need you to convert the kinds of opportunities that he got when he got pushed wide last night on that breakaway?
Yeah, I think it's just icing on the cake with Leonard at this point. I mean, it's invaluable experience to have him on a team that makes the playoffs. He's going to be better for it. They know what they have with this kid. He's incredibly talented. If anything, you do expect him to rise to the occasion because that's sort of been his MO in the college postseason, obviously playing for Team USA at World Juniors where he really landed on everybody's radar. You expect him to show up in these big moments, and that's why I think there might be an expectation that he could be an X factor in this series. As far as Ovechkin goes, I think the Caps would settle for more than one shot in a game. I mean, first time in the playoffs this season, he was limited to one shot on goal, and they really held him in check last night in ways that we haven't seen Ovi held in check.
If you're looking at what Carberry's got on the whiteboard for Game 2, some kind of adjustment, something. Obviously the first 10 minutes of Game 1 went really poorly for the Caps. They were outshot like crazy, and for a lot of that, continued throughout the game. What's the thing you're looking for early in Game 2 that folks that are watching can look for to be like, oh, okay, here's a way that this game could go differently and the Caps can turn this series?
I don't know. To hear Carberry talk about it, it probably won't be like a whiteboard. It might be like an IMAX screen with the amount of things that he was upset about after Game 1. I mean, he basically said outside Logan Thompson played, and once again, easily the Caps MVP in that game, there was 20 different things that he wasn't happy about in Game 1. And that's to say that when you're playing a team like Carolina, you have to get your details right. And, they end up tying the game on a ill-advised pass inside the Caps' own zone that, Protas obviously felt really bad about after the game. And that's the kind of thing Carberry is going to talk about, is that you've got to be on your details. When you get a lead against this Carolina team, if you can get up 2-0 against them, you might knock them out because of just how limited their offense can be. And then you simply can't gift them things. You can't give them those opportunities to try to put one past Thompson, because if you're on your details, like the Capitals usually are, they're a very tough team to beat.
Greg Wyshinski writing about all of this at ESPN.com. You can also watch the games with Sean McDonough and friends on ESPN TV as well. Greg, great to have you, and hopefully the Caps can turn this thing around and we can have you back later on in the playoffs.
I will be there for Game 2. Very excited about it. That place, hopefully I get the Capital One Arena that's filled with joy and cheers rather than the one that has the creeping tension of 15 years of playoff disappointments that I've also experienced in my time covering the Caps.
Yeah, that we don't need to talk about that today, Greg. But if you need a restaurant recommendation or two while you're in town, let me know. I got some places for you. Greg, appreciate you.
Well,
thank you.
Let it be known the Irish channel will be seeing me after the game. That much I can tell you.
Very well then. All right. Have fun, sir. We'll see you. That's Greg Wyshinski with us here on the Hoffman Show. When we get back, Anthony and I took a field trip today. We'll tell you all about it. But first, the latest on the world, or from the world in women's sports. It's presented to you by Wawa. Chicken how you want it at Wawa with customizable roasted or crispy chicken sandwiches. It's Hoffman Show. We're on the Team 980. We're always live as well on the free Odyssey app, streaming live on YouTube too at the Team 980. We'll take a look at the night's action in the NBA coming up at 6:30. Anthony, what were you? Why are you smiling so hard playing that song?
Because that was one of the songs that the kids at the event we went to earlier today were pumped to hear.
Yeah. So Anthony and I went to the Mystics one and only Mystics preseason home game today. Their preseason is over. They played 2 games. They played against Indiana without Caitlin Clark over the weekend, and then they played Atlanta this morning. And Atlanta, ironically, is the team that will go back to Atlanta and then come back on the 16th, next Friday, where we'll be broadcasting live ahead of the regular season opener at Care First Arena, the new name for Entertainment and Sports Arena. Care First, MedStar, the whole deal, whatever. Or it's not MedStar, but Care First is the new sponsor. But so we were out there, got hooked up with some very nice seats. Appreciate the fine folks who did that for us. Shout outs to your boy DJ. And so we got to take in a couple of different things. One, there's a couple of different schools there that did like field trip style. It wasn't a full-on camp day when they go to Capital One and there's thousands and thousands of kids, just probably 100, 200 kids there. And definitely certain songs that clearly are very popular on TikTok that have kids just scream singing them. And it's really funny when kids scream sing a song because their voices are very, very high. And so it's like there's one, Anthony, before you got there, Fiend by Travis Scott.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, Fiend. And like their voices are way up here, and it's just a chorus of 100 kids screaming. It was just,
yeah,
one of a kind. But there was energy in the place for a preseason game at 11:30 a.m. I'm sure the players appreciated that.
Hey, the DJ definitely understood the crowd.
DJ Heat is the best.
Yeah.
Like, she's an actual Did I ever tell you the story of when Jeff Walker met DJ Heat? So, DJ Heat, who's the DJ for the Mystics and the Wizards, and also is like, she literally does events around the world. Like, we are very lucky to have her as the in-arena DJ, if you care about such things, at Wizards and Mystics games. And she went to, I don't remember the schools, but like one of the Maryland schools, right? Because I'm trying to remember where Jeff went and where she went. One of them went to Bowie State.
Jeff went to Bowie State.
Maybe they both went to Bowie State.
Probably. It wouldn't surprise me if they did.
And so I think that's right. And DJ Heat's like 2 years older than Jeff. And as folks who listen to JP and B Mitch's show know, like Jeff is also a DJ and is big in that scene. And apparently, like going back to college when they both started, like she was already a legend, like of the culture in the DJ, like house party, whatever world. And so Jeff was with me working an event at it might have been the Mystics game, like last game of the season last year when they were at Cap One and Caitlin was there and they set the record for because that game we just went to. I don't remember. It was one of the Mystics games, I think, late last season. And she pops by the table. It's like she's just walking wherever. And I say, what's up? Because we've messaged back and forth on Instagram before. Like, we know each other. And Jeff is like, oh, my God, that's DJ Heat. And I'm like, yeah, she's not dope. Like, you do just stand here. Like, but he was legitimately, like, starstruck. And Jeff Walker doesn't get Jeff Walker is one of the most confident people that any of us have ever met in our entire lives.
Yeah, he is.
Jeff Walker will do whatever he pleases at any point without much consequence for anybody else. And he was just like, oh my God, that's he's like, bro, you don't understand. I was like, no, she's amazing. Like, I get, he's like, no, you don't, like, you do not understand. And I was like, okay.
That was pretty dope, though.
Yeah.
Pretty dope.
Got to see a different side of Jeff Walker.
Yep.
A side I didn't know existed. A side that had humility. I really hope JP's listening right now. He's a frequent listener.
Jeff meeting a hero.
Yeah. I mean, basically, yeah, Jeff meeting his hero. But anyway, yeah, DJ Heat understood the assignment. Sonia Citron's teammates did not understand the assignment. Anthony, do we have the soundbite of the post game? Did we ever find that?
No, I haven't been able to get that. Real Things is loaded, but I have not gotten that soundbite just yet.
In a clip that will undoubtedly make its way to your Instagram feed because it's on every social, like any sports social, the ESPNs, the Bleacher Reports, whatever. Brittany Griner caught Sonia Citron with a screen that just sent Sonia into next week. And luckily she's fine. She got up. She definitely, like, if this was a cartoon, there were Tweety birds just going around, flying around her head. BG, like, it's one of those, when you set a screen like that, Anthony, you ever set a screen like that in your life? You ever set a bone-crushing screen?
Nah.
Not really in your repertoire?
Nah, it looked like a blindside hit. That's what it looked like.
And, like, she leaned into it, I guess, enough, or it was, like, close enough to the sideline. We were real close, so we could hear the conversation with the ref and the Atlanta coach. And the Atlanta coach was like, she's staying still, but I guess it wasn't set in time, or it was set too close to the sideline in a way that Sonia did not have an escape route, and that was, like, you have to give them a step. Even if you're technically set by the time they run into you, you need to give them an extra second to be able to go around you. And I guess that was what happened. But also, some teammates got to yell out screen. And frankly, for a preseason game, if I'm BG, I might step aside and just be like, I just know in the regular season, you would have died. In the preseason, because there's a point, like, especially if you're playing pickup and you see, like, you're just going to set a get in the way screen and you realize, oh, this is about to hurt them. They don't see me. You just kind of catch them. Be like, hey, we're playing pickup. I'm not out to murder you. That's bad form. And instead, they just were. This isn't pickup. This is the league. This is the pros. And poor Sonia Citron, number 3 pick in the WNBA draft. I texted someone in the Mystics org, and I go, I guess I'll never have to ask Sony what her welcome to the WNBA moment is, because that was it.
Yeah, it definitely was, man. That was brutal.
You've been hit by a screen like that?
I
feel like you probably.
She was moving pretty fast though. Like, that's the thing. Like, I've been screened hard, but I've never.
Because you like to pick up full court and be just a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I mean, I did used to do that, but I never got hit like that. I would keep my head on the swivel just because I would know there are a lot of guys bigger than me out there. So, yeah. Or my teammates will communicate to me, screen left, screen right, like,
yeah,
something.
Someone.
I
mean, the worst part about that too is, like, it happened right in front of the Mystics bench.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, Sydney, coach, Sony screen. Sony, stop. Sony, no, you now have Tweety birds flying in circles around your noggin. Mystics ultimately, they got down big early in this game. Unfortunately, it looks like Jordan Canada, the guard for Atlanta, went down with what would appear to be a very serious knee injury. And then the rest of the first quarter, there wasn't really a break. Mystics got caught with a lot of their, frankly, players that might not make the team on the floor. Atlanta opened a big lead, about a 20-point lead in the first quarter. Ultimately, Washington closed it to 10 by the end. Some of their players played, really well. I thought Citron, all in all, played very, very well. Kiki Iriafen had 12 points. They didn't have anybody who could get her the ball. If they had, they would have probably been closer than 10. But we'll see. Cuts are coming. It's always a tough time in the W. Seeing draftees who had the best moment of their lives a couple weeks ago already getting cut here just a couple weeks later. We'll let you know in the trending updates and other places, as if anything comes down on that. But Mystics season opener, May 16th. The show will be there. Anthony, you going to come over? Because you won't be there for the show. You going to come over after?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we'll see you there on May 16th over in Anacostia. When we get back to the NBA, where tonight Celtics and Knicks have game 2. We'll preview that and the other game tonight as well next on the Team 980. It's the Hoffman Show. We're on the team at 980, always live as well on the free Odyssey app. We have a loaded up Buddy Hield and Jimmy Butler only Real Things Real People Said in Real Microphones coming up at 6:45. That's when our show's last segment is, Anthony.
I think so.
Yeah, I've only been doing this show for this will be the end of year 3.
Yes, sir.
So I guess June/July 1st is like our 4th birthday, if you will. Because the first one, year 1, you complete year 1, and then you complete year 2, you complete year 3.
It's 3, Craig.
Well, we complete year 3, which means we turn 4, and we start our 4th year. That's how birthdays work.
Craig, you know when you have your birthday, you don't start off at 1.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
So this is going to be 3.
But we've had 3 already. We started the show in we started the show in 2022.
Yes, sir.
Oh, see, conceptually I was correct. I misremembered the year we started the show.
Oh. I was like, I think we've done 3 years in June.
Because our current planning Google sheet is Hoffman Show year 3. So it's like, oh, we're completing year 3. No. This is 2022 we started.
Yep.
2023 we turned 1.
Yep.
Wait, hold on. I should. 2022 we started.
Yes.
Zero fingers are now up. I for the radio audience, I had a finger up. 2022 we started. That's 0. 2023 we turned 1. 2024 we turned 2, and then we'll turn 3 in 2025.
I'm proud of you,
this
Craig.
year. Yeah, because we started the show in 2022. The point is that the Knicks and Celtics play tonight, and the Nuggets and Thunder play after. What was I even saying?
I don't know, man. You tell me. You tell me.
I got nothing. I got.
We were talking about Real Things being at 6:45, and that you should know that because it's the 3rd year you've.
Although in the first year of the show, which I clearly don't remember very well, we did go to 6 o'clock. The show started as a 3 to 6 program.
Yep.
Which
do you know when we pivoted to 4 to 7?
It wasn't long in. It was like by the time football season started, wasn't it? Or was it a full year later?
I don't know.
You asked that question like you know it, or you knew the answer.
No, I didn't know. I want to say it was the following year, though. That would be my guess.
We
it
went
would be 2023. That would be my guess.
Why does 2023 feel so long ago?
It does.
By the way, speaking of not knowing dates, bro, we were talking about the draft stuff earlier in the week, and I was like, the 2023 draft in Detroit, and the one they took Jay, that was 2024 because it's 2025. I just don't know what year it is clearly the message here.
Wow.
Yeah. The theme that's connecting everything.
Yeah. Gotta get that figured out.
Do we? Or we just keep making it up?
I mean,
I don't know what I'm doing.
Hey, look, whatever floats your boat.
My boat appears to be sinking. Seems to be taking on some water. All right. The Celtics and Knicks play tonight. The Knicks stole game 1. Celtics had this thing in the bag, and then they just absolutely blew it. To me, this is the series. Like, Nuggets and Thunder, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Obviously, Cavs, Pacers. Part of it's injury, but, like, okay, the Cavs have already won 2. The Pacers have won 2. The Cavs now need to win 4 of 5 games. The Minnesota Golden State series is a 6-7 matchup, so that one, is kind of in its own category. But of these top seeds that are in trouble, the Celtics are the one that I am worried the least about, Anthony, because there is no way on God's green earth they are missing 45 threes again. It wasn't like the Knicks played that exceptional defensively. Like, they're good because they're always good. They challenge guys. They make you take tough shots. They make you throw up some grenades late in the shot clock. I get it. But I do not think that the Celtics, either just on a pure percentage standpoint or on a tactical standpoint are going to go 15 of 60 from three. I tend to think that if they start missing at that kind of clip, that Joe Mazzulla will be like, hey, guys, maybe let's attack the basket a little bit more. Let's maybe not take a zillion threes. And they still, even though they missed 45 threes, needed to blow a 20-point lead, and they lost by 3 in overtime. I think the Celtics are going to be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree as well. And I think a lot of the loss really came down to them settling. Just like we saw Anthony Edwards yesterday. He settled in the first half, and then in the second half, he just got downhill. Jason Tatum, and mind you, like, this is the Celtics game. Spam a lot of threes, like, get them up. Like, this is what they do. But at some point, you know, you don't have to take 45, or you don't have to miss 45
They missed
threes.
45.
Yeah.
Taking 45's like not crazy in the modern NBA. Hold on one second. NBA.com stats.
I think that is crazy.
I mean, it's still a lot, but I'm like, it happens every night in the league. My question is, teams, leaders, official leaders, team leaders. Can I get a teams home? Come on. Oh, my God. Why is the NBA stats site being an absolute menace? Not the time. Not the time, Anthony.
No, time is money.
No, and we're losing it. Let's see. Okay, points per game, blocks per game. We want 3 3-pointers made. We need the regular season. I'm just trying to get to the sortable stats, man. Per game, 3 points attempted. So the Celtics were the only team in the NBA that attempted more than 45 a game. They attempted 48.2 per game. Golden State was second at 42.4. Chicago attempted 42, 41.5. The Wizards, by the way, were ninth at 39.1.
Where were the Thunder?
The Thunder were, you know, the team that was last? The Denver Nuggets. The Thunder were 10th, right behind the Wizards.
Oh, okay.
They were 38.8 threes per game.
They got them up.
So, yeah, the Celtics take a lot of threes. 60 is an abnormal amount.
Yeah.
And I don't think the strategy from Tom Thibodeau is going to be, hey, this team that wants to take a bunch of threes, let them take threes. So, it by nature, that means you are forcing some of them. And at some point, you have to adjust and be like, all right, we're going to take what the defense gives us. Also, they hit at 25% in this game. They hit even 35%, where the season they hit closer to 37%. Then they're obviously winning that game going away. So
yeah,
that is that. The problem for the Thunder is Nikola Jokic is still the best player in the series.
Yeah.
And I don't know that he's going to go for 42 and 22 and 6 every single night. But he also might go for 35 and 18. And yes, if that's the case, the Nuggets only won by 2 on that late Aaron Gordon winner. But by the same token, like, I don't know how much adjusting there is to do if you are the Oklahoma City Thunder, because Nikola Jokic is just that good. Like, you got to hope that he does not go shoot as efficiently, get to the free throw line as much, and be as thoroughly dominant as he was.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say gang rebound. I'm not sure if you saw Jalen Williams in the post-game pressure after game 1 where they were talking about, them getting out-rebounded. He was like,
grab the basketball.
Yeah, we got to do this thing where we see the ball, we go up with 2 hands, we use our 2 hands, we squeeze the ball, we land on 2 feet, and then we get our elbows out. So I think they understand.
The Torian Prince?
Yeah. I think they understand what they got to do, gang rebound, and they're more than capable. Jokic is going to kill them. Like, I think they just have to accept that, but also just they got to control what they can control, and rebounding and things of that nature is definitely in their control.
Yeah, for sure. So that's the late game tonight, 9:30, 7:30. The early game starts between the Knicks and Celtics up in Boston. When we get back, last night, one of the funniest post-game pressers we've seen in a while, Jimmy Butler and Buddy Hield. Oh, man, it's what Real Things was made for. Real Things, Real People Said in Real Microphones is next. Tomorrow on the show, we have for you Never Read the Comments. I feel like there's also something else tomorrow. Anthony, what else we got locked in for the Thursday edition of the show? Nothing?
I think that's it.
Oh. There's definitely other stuff. I mean, we'll talk about the NBA games tonight. I really thought we had something. The McShay interview was great. Let's just play that on repeat for the whole day, except for Never Read the Comments.
Okay.
If you missed it, go check it out. Todd McShay joined us at 4:30. It's up in the podcast. Just search The Hoffman Show wherever you get your podcast. I'm not wasting any more time. I've been looking forward to this all day.
Real things.
We're not going to be so this year.
Real people.
5-11, not very good.
Said into real microphones.
You know, the culture is actually damn good.
All right, last night, the Golden State Warriors beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. If you've been paying attention to that series, and specifically to the Warriors over the last couple of weeks, Jimmy Butler and Buddy Hield have a ton of just like ongoing bickering. Jimmy's yelling at Buddy in the locker room. It's a big brother, little brother kind of relationship. And they were at the podium together last night, and chaos happened beautifully. The thing is, to start the game last night, Buddy Hield was wearing the wrong shorts. The Warriors got a delay of game penalty, and Buddy had to go change his shorts. Something I have not seen in the NBA for a long time, Anthony. And, of course, Buddy blamed Jimmy.
Buddy, what happened with the wardrobe malfunction?
Jimmy switched it out. It was Jimmy's fault.
Okay.
Jimmy switched it out, and that's what happened. So I was looking for my shorts, and I thought it was the right one. He said, yo, put these on. It was right. And that was the...
That's what you're going with?
Yeah, I'm going with Jimmy. It was Jimmy's fault. His locker's next to my locker. I was looking for my shorts. He said, yo, I can't find my shorts. Oh, I see there. And I put them on, and it looked just alike. And after that, got a fine for it. So it's cool. It was Jimmy's fault. Blame Jimmy.
Jim, I mean, obviously, you know there's always so much responsibility on you, but when you see Steph go down...
Responsibility in the shorts, too. Like I'm telling you, a lot of responsibility on him. He's not doing his job.
I mean, just no personal accountability for Buddy Hield.
That was funny.
Also, I do have a question, though. Warriors equipment staff. Why does Buddy have the wrong shorts in his locker to put on to begin with? Don't they hang the uniform? Is there like a warm-up pair and a regular pair, and Buddy did the wrong thing?
It appeared so.
I guess so. Of course, their bickering was not limited to pregame shenanigans involving their wardrobes. No, let's get into the on-court as well.
Draymond mentioned that you two guys were kind of going back and forth in the huddle even. Do you feed off? I mean, we've seen you guys go back and forth. You're doing it right now.
Ask him why he was going back and forth.
Why were you going back and forth?
Because when you know what, I'm not going to say exactly what I say in the locker room, but when I got a mismatch in the post, don't cut. Stay on the perimeter.
If you got a mismatch, you ain't going to score the ball.
I am going to score the ball. I can't score the ball when you cut into my space. You're a shooter. You're not even a cutter.
Bro, you seen it score
You
the ball.
saw what happened when you shot a layup in the first quarter? Smokey Robinson. That's exactly what you did.
I will say, Anthony, as someone who has operated as a post player at times in my prodigious pickup basketball career, I hate when dudes cut. When I finally got the thing that I've wanted all day. If I got the little guy and I'm just going to like bump him under the basket, turn around, and make a layup without leaving my feet, don't bring your guy to me. Play with way too many Buddy Hields is what I'm telling you.
No, I'm the same way. I hate when I finally get my ISO and somebody cuts right to the paint. Because I like
or like
to
you get the mismatch
basket.
you want, and then like for you as a guy who plays more on the perimeter, like then he comes, sets a screen. No, don't bring a second defender.
Yeah, like,
this is
come
what
on,
I've
man.
been dreaming of. God. So annoying. Of course, Steph goes down last night, and that leads to the whole who's Batman, who's Robin type deal, which went about exactly as you would have expected.
Draymond declared that tonight Jimmy became Batman and Buddy went from Alfred to Robin. Do you guys have any comments on that declaration?
No.
I'll start out.
No. I'm Batman today. I saved the day. He's still Robin.
All right, well, I'm still Robin, yes. And Steph's still Batman. And Buttered is still who he is.
I mean, Buttered.
Okay. But you had another good game, man.
Buttered. Yep.
There's another point where he calls him Butter in there, and Buddy Hield just goes, "My name's Buddy." Clearly, he hates it.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something about nicknames, Anthony. If you hate it, the surefire way to get people to stop calling you it is by telling them how much you hate it.
Yeah.
Never's going to work. Last but not least, just a closing final thought from the bickering duo that is Jimmy Butler and Buddy Hield.
Gary compared you to bickering brothers. And you're the little annoying brother and you're the older brother.
And what Gary is?
I don't know. Maybe he's the middle brother.
The clumsy one. Always doing the dumbest stuff ever.
You literally wore the wrong shorts. The audacity.
Reality check for Sir Buddy.
That, Anthony, sometimes you're Buddy Hield.
Really?
That your ability to walk into a joke and not see that you're walking into a joke is kind of like Sonia Citron and that screen for Brittany Griner today.
Oh, my gosh.
You full speed right into it. I'm just like, he doesn't see it coming. He doesn't see it coming.
Nope.
Bang. But thankfully, you're not annoying in all the ways that Buddy seems to be very annoying. You seem to be able to put the proper pants on. Your style's excellent. But that was boldly stupid from Buddy Hield.
Yeah.
Just, you're really gonna call Gary Payton the clumsy one who doesn't get anything right on the day that you, a professional basketball player, put on the wrong shorts? That's Real Things Real People said in real microphones. Never read the comments and more tomorrow on the Team 980.